some that'll show up through the traffic, and we'll get started. My name is Fred Cusero. I'm the Community Recreation Director for the City of Coral Gables. And today we are going to have a public meeting to go over 2 grant applications for park projects that we are already in the pipeline with and we're already starting work on. The first park is that we're going to look at is Cooper Park. Just information on the meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. We'll have people on Zoom, we have people in person. We're recording the meeting and it's going to serve as a meeting minutes, and we'll share that on the city's webpage. Following the presentation, we'll have the opportunity for everyone to ask questions. And we can do that also through the chat feature on Zoom, and virtual participants can use that Q&A chat. In addition, comments can be submitted via email to parksprojects@coralgables.com. So what's important on this meeting, which is a little different than the meetings we've had on these parks in the past, this meeting is to secure community support for pursuing additional funding, which is through our state grant, which is the FRDAP program, which is the Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program. We just completed a few grants. We've just completed 2 parks, one on Blue Road and one on Toledo and Lava, Dorothy Thompson Park. Those 2 were utilizing FRDAP grants. So those slots have opened up. The city's allowed to have 3 grant slots in any cycle. So now we're applying for 2 additional grants, and it's better to have projects that are already in the pipeline, because then you're able to use the timeline for grants. So that's what we're here to. For each of these parks, and we're talking about Cooper right now, the community input and the meeting, the month for input, all of that has been done previously. So we have gone over the concept and we'll show it again. We got all the feedback and we've had the final design and we're moving forward. So this park, the community meeting was held on April 25th, 2024. An opportunity for input was through May of 2024. And as I go through my presentation, I'll tell you where we are with the timeline and why we haven't started construction. Result of the input included the confirmation of the park design for Cooper Park to be the prime area for improvement. There was a change in design for Nellie B. Moore. So we're going to move that and phase it to a later time. What we were just going to do is concentrate on landscaping there, and not have developed park in Nellie B. Moore, because the community during our meeting determined that that was not what they wanted. So that's where we are with the project. The FRDAP award, which is what we need to have a meeting for, it is a requirement for the grant. And it's a competitive program based on the park project. You get points, you get slotted in a position, and then they kind of give you values, and that's where you're slotted in for the funding. Depending on what the state votes on and the total of their grant amount, if they award $10 million, the first $10 million worth of projects are the ones that get funded based on ranking. It's all county governments, municipalities, and local government entities that are able to qualify, and it's for outdoor recreational sites and general facilities for the public. You can't ask for more than $200,000, and the city has to provide a matching grant. As you'll see in a later slide, matching that $200,000 is not going to be a problem due to the cost of the park. We're going to be providing quite a bit more than that. An important note is the state has to award the money towards the grant program, and they have to vote that in. In certain years, funding hasn't been awarded, and in certain years it has. So we'll have to wait and see. When we look at the grant to see what qualifications, we have to look at what the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan is for the state, and we have to try to meet these priorities. So priority number 1 is health and well-being, and then public access, accessibility, and connectivity. Those are really the 2 that we look at when we're doing our small parks. They're not big trails, they're not large eco parks. We're not looking at tourism spots. These are smaller neighborhood parks, but we meet the priorities, which is why we're able to qualify usually very high on the grant funding scale. A brief history on the site that we're going to talk about with Cooper Park. We had 2 parks when we initially did it, so we kind of had them all. It's in the Golden Gate subdivision. It's bounded by US 1, Coconut Grove on the east, Lejeune on the west. and it's been a subdivision that with the McFarland Homestead was where the first pioneer families settled in the early 1900s. And some of the families included the Ramseys, Hopkins, Williams, Gibson, Wild Goose, Cooper, Tucker, and the Moore families. And we also had some notable early settlers like E.W.F. Stirrup, George Allen, Miss Frances Tucker, and Nellie B. Moore. So recently we did have a park renaming, and we are in the process of putting together the plaque for this, and we're going to install it even before we construct the park. So we're looking at a date. We're going to get that done pretty quick. We renamed it. It's been William Cooper, but we only thought it was appropriate to have Leona Cooper, his wife, also be part of it. Here's some information on her. She was one of the stalwarts of the neighborhood, and she was really instrumental in a lot of the different parks. I had many conversations with her about this park over the years. She was very active in the community, and she will be missed, but we will always remember her by the name of the park. Here's where we are right now with Cooper. This is the north view and the south view. And here's the east and the west. This was the concept that our designer, Miller Legg, did for this park. It was looking at almost a wheel design and a nature-based playground concept and having circular gears. And that's how, being the park is kind of two different lots that are diagonal. That was how we decided to do the design. This is the overhead of what we have. You can see how they played in the gear design on the park. So here's a legend of everything that we're going to do. We're going to do a flexi-paved walkway. There's going to be benches. We're going to do a swing. We're going to have some a playground, and you'll get a better picture of it in a second. We're going to do some ground cover, a picnic table. There's going to be shades, artificial turf for the playground surfacing. We're going to have a monument sign that we're going to spruce up, and then a couple of other things like play mounds and balance beams, the water fountain, benches, trash receptacles, our bike rack that we do for all of our parks. So it'll be a complete park, complete neighborhood park. Here's some pictures of some of the things I just described. So we're trying to do two different areas, one that will have the 5 to 12 and then the 2 to 5. The landscape structures is our playground system. It's called the Volo. The community, when we shared it with them back in April, they liked it. They thought it was a good system for the park. It's not a gigantic park. We can't have a 10-story playground area. We have to fit something within the size and the scope of the park. But I think this provides a lot of play value to it, and the shade provides a good shaded area, which in the hot sun will help. We do have our standards that are our Dumar bench, our receptacle, our trash receptacle, our bike rack, and the flexi-paved walkway. Those are features that are in a lot of our neighborhood parks. We try to have everything be a unity of design and scope, and this park would meet that as well. It would look like a lot of the other neighborhood parks that we put together. This is a more in-depth look at the playground. As you can tell, it's got a lot of activity. There's climbing, there's bars, there's ropes, there's bridges, there's nets, there's slotted wall climbing, there is slides, two kinds of slides. So we're excited for this kind of play feature. It's actually going to be unique. We don't have another one like that in the city, so it's great that this will be one of those. We have different play structures throughout the city that have some of this stuff, but not all of it. This is more stuff. You can see all the netting, the rope, the slots, the little rockers underneath. It's all good stuff. And some of the other things that I talked about is on the 2 to 5, we're going to have a couple of play mounds, which you can see those. We have those in a few of our parks. If you've been to Salvador, you'll see them. We just have them now at the Dorothy Thompson Park. They're very popular, the play mounds, and they'll be covered in the artificial turf. That'll be the same safety surfacing. We are going to have a 2-base swing, and you're going to have one of the swings. We're hoping to be a mommy and me swing. We're going to have the shade system, so you'll be able to swing, and it'll be cool. And then we'll have a couple of picnic table. We'll have a picnic table and a bench. So it'll be a really active area for the 2 to 5. These are some of the plants that we're looking at, depending on how we work through the site. These are the options that we're looking at with our landscape, our green space management division, our landscape architect. This is what we are looking at doing is providing a palette that includes a lot of these different ones, depending on what the availability is and what we want in terms of the scope and what it looks like in terms of size and what's available. Here's a cross section. You can see what the park's going to look like in terms of the elevations. You have the trees. The trees are still going to be the big trees are going to kind of be the dominating factor in the park, but the playground will have quite an impact as well. And then you'll also have all of the other features. So this is how it looks like all together. So in summary, FlexiPave walk trail. If anybody wants to know FlexiPave, it's kind of rubber. It's a compound surfacing that's kind of soft when you walk on it. And it's not like a playground surfacing, but it's a spongy walking surface. We'll have the picnic tables. We'll have the trash and waste receptacles. We'll have the drinking fountain with bottle filler. That's also important. We're going to have a mister. We'll have the play components, the bike racks. We'll put in a new sign for the park name, and we'll have the perimeter fencing around. We need to have the perimeter fencing around the park because it's a playground. We need to keep the kids safe, and new landscaping, and we'll do landscape lighting that'll be low level. We won't light the whole park up, but we'll do low level because this park will be like a lot of our other parks. We'll do a sun up to sundown kind of operation. Here's where we are and what's next. This is our second meeting, and we want to secure that community support for funding for the Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program. We have already completed the initial concept design, and the project is moving already to permit plans and drawing phases. The estimated procurement for a construction company is to be completed by June 2026 and construction completed by end of 2026. With this property, we did have a couple of factors that involve the right of way. And we were working with property owners to look at potentially purchasing a property that would help with the park design. The city is meeting on that next week, and we'll be discussing the purchase of property. And in either way, we've had those discussions, and however those turn out, we're still going to move with this design. And if we have to alter the design because we purchase additional property, then we'll incorporate that into the design. So that is it for Cooper, and I'll get started with Rotary in a second. Do we have any questions on Cooper? No. Anything on Zoom? Wow. Okay. So, yeah.
Hi, for the record, I'm Lee Cooper, the granddaughter of William and Leona Cooper. And we have about like 30, a little under 30 kids in the neighborhood that are under the age of 10 who would really, really benefit from the park. So like if you want to add that in the grant proposal, that will help.
And we are anxious to get started. And like I said, we've done what we can to work out, what we have to with the property, and we're having a final meeting next week, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay. Thank you. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. So I just need my IT folks to get me Rotary, and then we'll go for Rotary. Thank you to our technical people back there.
Only be turf.
The turf will only be around the playground safety area. All the other areas, will either be the walkway, landscaping, and, sodding if, in certain areas in the corners and areas that are not activity areas. Turf will only be for the safety surfacing and the mounts. All right. Thank you for that question. So we're going to get started with Rotary, Rotary Centennial Park. So as in our last meeting, it's the same rules apply. It'll be recorded and we'll have the opportunity for questions at the end. And if you're listening on Zoom, you're also able to do it through the Q&A chat. And our email address is there for additional comments if you want to make them. As we discussed with Cooper, it's the same meeting information. We want to secure community support for the FRDAP grant program. We have had community meeting with this one, and we had the input process has been completed for this park. The community meeting to discuss the park was held on October 1st, 2024. The opportunity for input was through October 31st, 2024. The result of the input included the selection of the play equipment. We had some choices, confirmation of security lighting additions, and the confirmation of the design that we presented. As discussed, it's a $200,000 grant that we're going for. We're going to match it, and we have to cross our fingers that the Florida legislator will approve it and will grade high enough to be one of the competitive programs that gets funded. Once again, this park is similar to Cooper and what it provides. Health and well-being and the public access are the two main points, which is why those are attractive projects for the FRDAP program. Brief site history. In 2000, we purchased the land. I was here for that. Can't believe it's been 25 years. Then we were able to purchase the other lots next to it. So then we had the entire corner in 2002. So it was 11,500 each lot. And then, so now we have close to half an acre. The park was named in 2005 in honor of the Rotary Club of Coral Gables for its 100 years of service. In 2006, a resolution was passed. We received funds for Building Better Communities General Obligation Bond Program, and we were able to start building the park using that funding. We had a change of land use. We went from it was a home site, and we had to change it from residential use, low density, to parks and recreational use, and also to special use. So here's the park. It's as you can see, we take up the whole corner, and the configuration is it's divided in half. You have a playground in half of it, and you have more of an open passive area on the other half, which is kind of done by design. That's what we wanted to do when we designed the park and built it the first time. These are some of the features, existing features, some of the things that we have to fix, the fences, the perimeter walls. We're going to change out trash receptacles. We'll move some benches. We're going to change out that sign and have a different sign. So we're going to add a lot of different things that will be a nice enhancement of this park. These are all the play systems. I'm going to show you what we're going to have there, and you'll see it's a great improvement, and we'll be really happy with what's there. So this was the design that our architects wanted to look at. This was Goody Matuti, who's done some parks. They kind of looked at the different designs in the city. They used City Hall, they used the Segovia circles, they used the fountain, and they kind of looked at the way the traffic ran around there as kind of like their inspiration for their schematic design. And then what we came up with was keeping the same footprint of open area on one side and active area on the other side, and then adding all of these different features that are listed here, and I'm going to go over them a little more detail on the next few slides. This is a little more magnified. Some important features that you don't see there now. We do have a playground there now, but there's also on the north end, I'm sorry, on the south end, especially the southeast end, there's going to be a new accessible entrance in the southeast corner, and that's going to have the new signage. It's going to be new seating. It's going to be a decorative round entrance that'll allow people to go in through there instead of just only in the open space that they have right now along Avila Court. And there's also going to be a couple of there'll be a picnic table and some seating in the passive area that we haven't had in the past. That came out of the community meeting to have some seating in this area and have a little bit more of an entryway and have something that accentuates the park more than the sign that we have there now. And here it is up close. So, you know, we'll have the landscape area. We'll still keep it very with a lot of native plantings, but you'll have that walkway and you'll have the abilities. You'll still have the open grass, so you still have that natural element, and you'll just have a couple of different smaller features which the community seemed to like. Here's our play area. We looked at this, and this was what was chosen of the options. And it has, you'll see another picture of it. It has climbing structure. It has a swing. It has the play area. This area, in comparison to Cooper, is a little bigger. So there's more square footage in the lot size. So you're able to combine all the play elements in one area. And we're going to the same things that we talked about in the previous park. The new receptacles, the benches, the new picnic table, they're all listed there. The perimeter fence is going to be a perimeter picket fence with oolite columns, very similar to a lot of the fencing that we have throughout the city and all of our parks. If you want to look at some of our parks, like Dorothy Thompson Park right off Bird Road, and Toledo Lava is one of our newest open park, and that's the kind of fencing that you'll see there. Same. These are some of our materials and site features. That'll be the fence, the door. We've tried to do that at a lot of our places. We've done it at Pierce Park, having the name of the park, and you can see what the oolite columns look like and the picket fence. So that'll be the look. And here's the playground equipment, this is what we chose. And it has the coaster slide, it has the swing, and the new age climb. So you got a little bit of everything. You got some climbing, you got a slide, you got swings, there's a mister. So we're pretty happy with what's available here. And that's what it looks like. There's another angle. So you can see there's a lot there. And we also did a little, there's a little musical instrument play for interactive play as well. But here, there's a couple of different things that we look at. Is we want to have some hedging options because we do have the houses that are right up on the western side. We got to make sure that we buffer that. And then we also buffer the active area from the passive area like we've done before. So we want to have clear separation. So these are some of the different options that we'll look at in terms of screening. Then when we start looking at the lower level stuff, the decorative plantings, and some of the ground fill, these are the different options that we're looking at. So these are the features of the park. We're going to have accessible entrance, the flexi-pave. We're going to have the walkway trail on the entrance on the passive side. We're going to have the accessible picnic tables and the benches, the litter, waste receptacles. We're going to have landscaping with low-level landscape lighting. We're going to have a drinking fountain with bottle filler and push-activated mister, the new playground components. And this is something that came out of the community demand is we're gonna have a, CCTV and code blue system security pole. We're looking to do that with every park eventually. This is one of the ones that is in our pilot program. We're putting out 4 poles that we got funding for. If they work and they do well, it's a combination of the blue light button. It'll have an AED, and then it'll have direct communication to the police station if you need it. If they work well, they'll start being installed in all the parks, including Cooper. We're hoping to have about, if everything goes well, we're looking to have about 20 of them installed. Unfortunately, they cost a lot of money, so you can't do them all at once. They're not cheap, but we did our first one. We installed our first one in Salvador, and it seems to be holding up well. So it looks like we're going to continue to put them out, and we're going to get gradual funding every year to continue to do those. And we already talked about the perimeter fencing with the light columns. So our budget, and this is one of the things that we're at the estimated construction budget is 1.2 million, and the project budget total is 1.3 million. And that's kind of why we're asking for some money, because the old slide had a lot less. But once we looked at and priced it out, we had the funding. How this differs from Cooper, we were funding for 2 parks. And like I said, we took off Nellie B. Moore. So then we were able to combine all the funding for Cooper. So we're able to move forward with the Cooper Park because we phased Nellie B. Moore out to another time. So we could use the grant money, and it'll help. The old slide of our old community meeting, I think the total, we were looking at about 850, and it's gone up based on the estimate when we went out and we looked at what costs are today. As you know, things are getting more expensive every day. So what's next? So as we said, we're here to secure the community support for pursuing the additional funding, and our concept design is complete here. The project's already moved to the permit plans and the drawing phase. The estimated construction timeline is 8 to 10 months. The estimated park completion is in winter of 2026. So we're moving forward. Like I said, what we wanted with these 2 parks is to go for a grant for parks that are shovel ready. And these are shovel ready. We just have to bid it out, find the construction company, and move on. And that's all I have for Rotary Park. Do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
My name is Al Caro. I live in that area. So I've been aware of this park for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I was at the first meeting that we had a conversation about this. I think it's good that you're doing a kiddie park, but you understand that most of the people that live in that area are elderly. Okay, they don't have children. Okay, so you're making a kiddie park that I think probably would be for grandkids or people outside the area that will come and use the park, which that has its positive and negative things. What would I said at that time that would be more appropriate for this park is to have a Vita course, because a lot of people use a Vita course if it was there. And I can see right then and there that you did not include that. And so that I'm disappointed in as a person that lives in the area. Is there any way to look at the concept and see what the neighborhood is like and how many small families are in the area there that would really use it as a kiddie park? Okay, that's really all.
Understood. And when we had the community process and we did the input and we did get support at the time for the playground. I think the playground's already there. I think they just wanted a new one. You're right. Maybe it's more for grandkids, but I will tell you, based on my experience in different neighborhoods, it's cyclical. All of a sudden, as populations change, all of a sudden you'll have young families moving into certain areas. We've had that before. But we wanted to make sure that when we went to the community, all options were open, and there was support for the playground. That's why we went with it.
what you said. I think that for young families, anything in the Gable is kind of priced out. So, and so you're not going to get young families moving in this area. Okay. So you're not really looking at this holistically as a neighborhood and what we need, but that's fine if it's for grandkids, but really, I think you need to go back to the drawing board, even though you think you have it all done. I really do think you need to look at this a little bit carefully and see what is more appropriate for the area. I may be talking and you're going to say, well, you know, whatever. And you're going to go on with what you want to do. And that's fine. I just needed to make sure you knew what, since I live in the area, what you knew, what I feel would be more appropriate for the site.
Understood. And like I said, I received feedback from a lot of people in different areas. And in that area, there was a conglomerate of people that weren't able to be here, but they emailed me and told me that, you know, they wanted me to move forward with the design as presented. The only reason why I say about the families moving in is because I've seen it in other neighborhoods, where, and neighborhoods in all different areas of the city, that, the composition has changed. And it doesn't happen from one day to the next, obviously, but you know, I've been with the city for 30 years, so I've seen it where different neighborhoods change from not having any children to all of a sudden having a ton. And that's, I mean, you know, it could happen, but I understand. And we'll look at, I mean, you know, there's always a chance for something of a fitness component later on in the passive area. You know, if we have the funding. Yes. No. Of course.
So I just want to know if it'd be considered not to destroy the park and put two giant playgrounds there and preserve some of the green space. I live, you know, across from the park, and one of the main reasons I chose that neighborhood is because there was so much green space. And since there are other parks so close to, you know, our area that have playgrounds, I don't really agree with, you know, putting two more playgrounds with no parking in a very busy area that has two schools that get out every day. So like half of the day, you know, it's not going to be accessible during the school year.
When we looked at it, and I know you came a little late, but we had a meeting on this, and the reason why we did that is, I mean, that was the community input that we received, and what they did is we also had Nellie B. Moore that was developed, and they said keep Nellie B. Moore as the grassy area and put the playgrounds on Cooper and make Cooper the active park. And so that's what we did. We changed our entire, we had a complete design for both. And we took out the Nellie B. Moore part to have that be the green space area because they wanted the swings and the playground area. Yeah.
Giant playgrounds, you know, right there, when there's several playgrounds, they have the, you know, the playground off of Grand, and then there's another playground right on the other side of Lejeune that has a playground for younger kids. Is there any way that could be considered? Because, you know,
I
this
understand.
community
I
is
just-
considered like
yeah.
a green space, like Coral Gables is, you know.
I understand. I just, if you were there at the meeting, you remember there was a lot of people that wanted that play area. And the second one, that's why we changed to just swings basically and a mound. So it's not a big player, it's just swings.
So instead of just putting swings there, can it be
There's-
considered the green space?
The
Or no,
community,
is it too late?
no, because so what we talked about in the meeting is that today was for us to let the community know about us going for the grant. We've already decided on the design because we had all the community input. And the other purpose of this meeting was to give an update because like Cooper Park, it's taken a while and Rotary's taken a while. So we wanted to give an update on where we were and how we were starting. But we had the community input period and we did get support to build those two, to the playground and the swing. That was the support that we got. So that's why we're moving forward. We went based on the consensus.
You're not taking care of the park that's there now. Okay, there's a lot of native plants. You don't trim them well. you don't really take good care of the park as it is. Now, how is this improvement going to improve the maintenance of a park? Because that's really the key here. If you have, if all of it, because I do have a yard that has a lot of natives, and I know the work involved in having natives. And you're just not doing a good job with what you have now. So how is that built into your project?
Well, we're gonna have a maintenance plan, and you as an area resident, if you see something where we're not taking care of stuff, let us know. And we'll take care of it. But we have a plan, we have a maintenance plan, and we actually we're kind of automating our plan. We're going to a system where we'll be able to be a lot more vigilant on it with our staff in terms of marking it. We're going through a whole computerized system. So yes, we're looking at a maintenance plan. Now, the only thing I base it on is some of our newer parks, when we put in the landscaping, we put in a little bit of the landscaping. It's good landscaping. It's not as high intensive maintenance. And we've been able to maintain it better. The only thing that we run into is, damage with feet, where people run through landscape areas. That's the only time where we struggle.
The other thing I want to talk about is that you're having a noise maker over on the kiddie park. All this stuff that's making a lot of noise. Okay. There's a lot of elderly people that live around that area, and you're having some sort of noise maker. Go back. You have some sort of, it looks like a xylophone. Okay.
Small music.
Okay.
Right there.
But that's going to make a lot of noise for a lot of people in that area. And,
Well-
you're going to get complaints.
Well, okay. And
Okay.
we'll look at that. I mean, we have those in other parks that are densely populated in residential areas. We really don't get those complaints, but we'll take a look at it. And if we can't put it in, we won't put it in. But, we haven't run into that issue yet. And we've installed those in a few parks that are densely populated, nestled up against other homes.
Well, I'm just saying that when a lot of people go to a park, they want to be quiet. They want to maybe just kind of chill out. And if you got a noisemaker over here, that's not going to be
It's not super loud. Trust me, it's not like a concert.
okay.
Yeah, it's not because it's not amplified or anything like that.
Okay. Well, just keep in mind that a Vita course would be more appropriate for this park, considering the population that's bought in that area. Just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep. Absolutely. Anything on Zoom? Oh, got one more.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Anya. I'm 13.
Yeah.
And I went to middle school, actually, like Carver, the middle school in that area.
Right.
And well, I'm in ninth grade now.
Yep.
But every single day, practically, I use that park to hit my friends, go home. And I just feel that putting a playground there, especially since school gets us at 4, there's a lot of traffic already. That's something that my mom said. And already just that's horrible. I almost got hit on rainy days multiple times. Not funny, but just already horrendous. And putting a playground there when there's already like Amberster, which I know a lot of kids go to already, it just doesn't seem like that fit. And especially since like I have a lot of people who've made memories there who live in the neighborhood, and I just don't feel like it would benefit the main population.
Well, we do have a lot of young children in the area. I mean, we had a commentary earlier. We had a commentary earlier where there's like 30 children in the area that are under the age of 10. So, it'll be conducive to that neighborhood to have playground, and we will fence it. So there won't be the ability to run out unless you go through the gate like any other park. So it'll be barriered. It'll be safe. I can't do anything about the traffic and the school traffic. I wish I could, but we can make the park safe. Thank you. Do we have anything on Zoom? We do.
So our first question is from Nick Schwari. Do you need help with the design of any signage?
Not sure what help he's referring to, but sure, any commentary that you'd like, please share it on Parks Project, coregables.com, and we'll get in touch with you to see what we're talking about there.
No further questions on Zoom.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out on a Friday. I appreciate all of your comments, and they will be in the record. And as we move along, if there's any changes in the park, we'll let everybody know. All right, thank you.